Good evening, dear listeners. My name is Derek Wandera. I bring you the Friday Hot Seat tonight, where I host pundits and journalists to discuss with depth some of the matters that have happened throughout the week. I have a full house of gentlemen. One of these days, I should be looking for ladies for this show. I need almost an hour to introduce all of them. I have Isaac Kayonde, who used to be Gomba's finest.
I am still Gomba's finest.
I have Dismas Nkunda, a former journalist, still a journalist, but also in civil society. I have Obed Katurebe, the acting executive director of the Uganda Media Center. I have Frank Mujimba, a Ugandan citizen. All of us are, anyway. And then I have Jimmy Achelam. Welcome to the show, Jimmy.
Thank you.
As we begin, I wanted to just tell you that the Daily Monitor of Saturday Monitor, is already on your streets with a bevy of stories that are so in-depth, heading with Uganda casts worry glance at Tanzania. We know everything that's happening in Tanzania, and we're going to be discussing it here. Who saw Walukaga coming? Not even the 12th parliament. Someone has written. Quite a number of very good stories there, but we are not going to emphasize. Just go to the streets with your 2,000 shillings and get yourself a Daily Monitor copy and enjoy the very good stories. I want to begin with Dismas. Dismas, can you paint for us a picture of what exactly it is that's happening in Tanzania?
I don't know why I should be the one painting. I should be rubbing. So the elections happened. The elections ended up being a one-person election. The incumbent president standing alone. The other individuals who were supposed to stand against her, one of them was still incarcerated. That is Tundu Lissu. And so it was an election that had no contestants but had contestation. And what happened is that it ended up angering Tanzanians. I mean, one of the very few times that you find Tanzanians getting very angry. I know that Ugandans can get angry, they can get agitated, Kenyans can, Rwandans cannot try. So therefore, when they were waiting for the Electoral Commission to declare the results, and that's when they started these demonstrations, which they call Mandamano. And it went on. One of the scenes that was still hangs in one's mind is the floods of young men entering Julius Nyerere International Airport, which ordinarily is one of the most, security was a very restricted airport. Then we saw scenes of looting. The army came up with a number of instructions indicating that the people should, under the government itself, saying that people should not move. There's a curfew. 12 hours from 6 to 6. Then there was the question of, but then still didn't stop people from looting, which they ended up looting, in particular businesses owned by government officials and celebrities. Then across Kenya, there were an attempt by the Gen Z, that young group of Kenya, to cross over to go and offer solidarity with the Tanzanians, but they were thwarted and they will not be able to make it. But there was quite a bit of chaos at the border post of Namanga, which is related entirely to that. So I don't know whether I have mispainted, painted, or unpainted.
I think you have painted. Thank you very much, Dismas. I've seen also so many buses, especially bus stations, have been looted and buses burnt down into flames. Very many cars on the streets of Dar es Salaam. Typically burnt down. But I want to bring you, Isaac, in. What kind of picture, this kind of picture that Dismas has painted of what's happening in Tanzania? Of course, I know that there is also internet blockage there. The internet has been shut down, so there is very little information that we're going to get. What does that show about the entire election period that East Africa is going through? Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda is next year, and then Kenya the following year. What these kind of uprisals, should they worry Uganda?
Well, first of all, I must say I'm totally against unprincipled protests. What I see in Tanzania is what you'd call FOMO, fear of missing out. We are Gen Zs, we are bad, we are ruthless, we are everything. An election happened, unlike what this was said, there were 17 candidates on that ballot. There were, of course, the contenders. There's Tundu Lissu's party. Tundu Lissu is in jail. There was the other one. Chadema is Tundu Lissu. There was SCT was Alendo. He was disqualified, I think, in August of this year. You can argue those are the contenders, but I feel like those contenders would have then reason to collect their funds or whatever it is. But for me, I'm asking myself, what are they striking about? Is it human rights that they have just seen that Suluhu is the most barbaric person? Magufuli killed journalists and threw them on the roadside. Magufuli, that Tundu Lissu was shot with 14 bullets. 16, you know? They flew him to Belgium and everything. There was literally, he found Chadema had 40% of the parliament. I think by the time he left, there were less than five opposition MPs. So for me, the issue here is, largely, I see also the rise of sexism in leadership. You know, where I see Suluhu has not done anything. These men who have ruled this Tanzania,
and Uganda
and others and others, there's nothing new under the sun. Yes, we must condemn all kinds of human rights, but for me, illegitimate removal of government, whether through coups, protests and such, are just not desirable, because everything they lose. Now, you find a protest like Tanzania where they are destroying even the SGR. They are destroying gas plants. How has that got to do with political contestation? I mean, yes, you can agitate, but you are destroying the nation in every single way. Okay, so let's ban this thing, destroy it, and then we shall rebuild later. Where were they? Why didn't they go to the polls and vote for the least guy? Why didn't they strike for Tundu Lissu to come out? Why are those not the issues? Why is it that, look, let us strike completely and remove Suluhu? So for me, it's unprincipled, it's uncultured, and I just think that Africans, we deserve better.
Yeah, it's, yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
No, it's unprincipled, it's wrong, it's not the right thing to do.
Speak to the microphone.
In terms of those kinds of strikes, but they're happening.
Yes, they are.
So do you think the same can happen here?
Now, you see, that's what I told you. This is hopeless Kenyans. And I was angry. The Kenyans
Kenyans are not hopeless.
No.
The ones who are concerned.
The ones who drove and went to Namanga.
Those are hopeless.
Right? Who drove and went to Namanga.
Solidarity.
Whatever you might call it. You drive, you go there. Why? How come they failed to remove Ruto? Now they are going to. Why should they spread their bad mind?
Maybe they also wanted a solidarity.
What the other thing here? I
want to bring you Obed in, because this morning we were on a panel where you were quite intent on questioning what exactly it is that the youth want, and like Isaac says, looks like the main issues that they should have probably even protested about earlier did not come up until this election. What do you think these youth are trying to achieve?
Sure, you know, most of us are good copycats. Just because some youth movement throughout Rajorina, the former president of Madagascar. So every community think now they can go in the street and whatever. Whereas probably the youth in Madagascar had some serious legitimate concerns. Things weren't going well, fresh on prices and whatever. Many things were really bad. But then I come back to Tanzania. I was looking at what exactly is making them really go mad. Okay, you can talk about human rights issues, but like someone said here, Suluhu compared to her predecessors, she's very better. But I mean, when you look at Madame Suluhu and her record, I mean, corruption. She began where Magufuli stopped. Everybody thought things would backslide a little bit, but she was very firm. She's been firm on corruption. She's been firm on infrastructure development. These other SGR that they are moving was completed by her, and what is this? Is a famous bridge, Magufuli Bridge. Then foreign direct investment, tourism has hit the roof. I mean, everything any leader would do to transform society, Suluhu has done it. Then the youth routing rails and but my disappointment still now comes to the establishment in Tanzania. I mean, how could they be caught flat-footed like that? I'm sorry to say, nonsense of saying police will manage everything. When people go violent, what is the army doing in the barracks? I'm not saying they should come to shoot, to kill, but to contain and protect key government infrastructure. I mean, you need to rein on this. This is another form of
what does the army use to protect? What does the army
what police uses? They all use similar things. But I'm telling you, I just like we were talking about Uganda. No, it cannot come. For us, we don't pretend on things, on gains. I mean, you can't build that standard gauge Tanzanians have built, and you allow lunatics to uproot it, and you think you are being democratic.
But for us, we don't have
we'll protect. So
I don't think we have any gains, do we?
No, quite many. Because people can blow up that dam, that Karoma, and then you go backwards. So they should have really had serious contingent plans to protect the election, to protect the infrastructure. At the end of the day, I know this will go down, but it will go. It will subsidize, but it will. I mean, it will cost them big time.
Yeah, I was speaking to someone this morning, and we were saying the effects of such a protest in a country. We look at countries like Sudan. Sudan can never be where it used to be. I think Sudan would, if you would compare in terms of development in say the region or even in the continent,
the 8th largest economy
in Africa. Just imagine. And right now, it must be even the last. Frank, what do you think about this kind of protest, and do you think it is justifiable for the people of Tanzania to go to protest?
Thank you, Wandera. First of all, I think they have legitimate reasons as to why they are actually protesting. I want to differ from what Isaac is saying. First of all, it's really rare to find such protests in Tanzania. First, I thought, could it be that there is an external player that is actually influencing this? Secondly, I also thought
the Kenyans. The Kenyans. These are foreign actors in Tanzania's affairs.
Leave alone what has actually been happening in Kenya, in Madagascar, and all the other countries where actually Gen Zs have protested. Then I was also wondering, is it that it could be the works of ACCM that they actually want to depose this lady who is perceived as not as competent as the previous presidents who were in place? Because with Tanzania's intelligence, how come they actually failed to see this coming? So, but because I do not have credible information as to any of my thoughts, then I think there are legitimate causes as to why these people are actually protesting. One, Look at Samia Suluhu in CCM, how she was actually given the card, the party flag for her to contest. This is her first term. The first term she took on from the president who died, Magufuli. So she's coming actually for the first time. Why didn't she actually contest with other people in the party? That actually led to some of the party members moving out of the party and going to other political parties to seek for cards. Look at Luhaga Mpina, who actually crossed from
in 30 seconds, because we need to go for
from Chama Cha Mapinduzi, went to ACT Wazalendo, but actually was finally stopped from proceeding. So even Tundu Lissu was also stopped from contesting. The party was actually stopped. So the suppression of the opposition side in Tanzania could be a legitimate cause, because even of
Chadema, just for point of information, they boycotted.
Yes, they boycotted because of the code of conduct that they actually failed to sign.
Agreed.
That had things they are not in agreement with.
They just want reforms. Which reforms?
Yes, reforms have not been given. So is that legitimate?
Let's go for a quick commercial break, and when we return, we shall pick it up from there. KFM, welcome back from that quick commercial break. My name is Derek Wandera. I have a big panel. I have Isaac, I have Dismas, I have Obed, I have Frank, and we've been joined by the former MP of Chadondo East. He is still coming back. In fact, on his posts, welcome to the show, Honorable Apollo Kantinti.
Thank you very much, Derek, for having me.
Hey, nice to have you. Before I bring you in, we are speaking about Tanzania. But Frank wanted 20 seconds.
Just 20 seconds to
introduce the answer.
Achalam has stepped aside. Achalam has that.
So I just want to conclude in 1 second. This thing of oppressing the members on the opposition, with all the evils that you, Wandera, would think about President Museveni, I don't think he has done such a thing. He will allow election will take place. Whatever happens after that.
But Kizza Besigye is in prison.
No. Kizza Besigye, even previously, did he even contest? And
he was going to come back.
I really don't know about that. But it was not about elections. But also, secondly, as I conclude, it is about democracy in Tanzania is a bit different. This is one political party that has ruled in Tanzania, and it is where actually all the presidents that have ruled Tanzania are actually coming from. So I don't know if it actually remains democracy or some sort of, or there is another definition that you could give it that. So Chadema has also to adapt to the changes that are actually taking place even globally. It has to rebrand.
I want to bring you in, the Honorable Kantinti. There's this whole norm, whatever we are seeing in Tanzania. We've seen it in Uganda as well, the oppression against the opposition leaders, and we've seen that Ugandans have also at some point gone on the streets, and 56 people were killed on the streets of Kampala. What do you read into the coming election, and do you think you as opposition members of this country are worried?
Thank you very much, Derek. Most definitely in Africa, and now it seems the world over, with what happened in the other elections when Donald Trump tried to hijack, and even what's happening there right now. We have been seeing it in Africa. We have always been saying elections are not fair. The playing field is not fair. And there's a very, very good reason to be afraid. Not only to be afraid of the state machinery, to be afraid of our peers with whom we don't agree. Yeah. Some of them tend to get very taken up and take it in their own hands, as the case we saw in Kenya. The 5, last I checked, I think it was just 5 deaths reported in Tanzania. I'm not saying it's a dismal number, but that would be a good number to go by. And we are not even profiling from what side the violence is coming from. So definitely, based on people's expectations, if the expectations are high that their candidate is going to win, then sometimes there's some semblance of violence brewing if their person of choice has not been announced and they believe that he did win. So yeah, there is fear, there is concern. Levels of civic education in most African countries are still very low, and tolerance is lower when the situation is not good.
Yeah.
When you've got things like poverty, frustration about the next move, you definitely are going to be afraid of what somebody's going to do if they don't get the outcome. In the case of Uganda, come January 15th, you never know what another opponent is going to be thinking about. You never know if the state machinery or some elements in the state machinery think that they can hijack the whole situation. So we have got to be concerned.
Your candidate, your presidential candidate, has been blocked on a number of campaigns while on his trail. That's the Honorable Nanda Lamafari.
Right.
And
Really?
I am a journalist. I'm telling you what I know. Yes, so
Yes.
many. There are so many districts that he hasn't been able to campaign. And the biggest issue in Tanzania is about repression against the opposition members. What are some of the things you've put on table to make sure that you avert some of the issues that could come and cause mayhem?
One, we have learned to adopt. We have gotten new tricks about how to go about this. Let me give a case. We were in Mbale, and we had a very, very good reception. Now, Mbale is one of those old, with old planned towns, where one street is going to lead to the next street, and the next street is going to lead to the next street. We shared with the authorities where the procession was going to take place. They disagreed with us, so we had to come up with a plan B. Every time you'd find tear gas canisters on cars and police, we'd always divert. The code would come in, take third and go down. And then you go make the next left and you'll be at the venue. That helped us a bit.
Okay.
It was not confrontational. People were not getting frustrated. Yes, we did not get all the crowds there, but we got enough of the crowds to make a statement and for enough of them to get the message that we need to take out. So we have since learned it does not help us in opposition if you are arranging for a rally or a get together or a meet or a talk, whatever you call it. It does not help us when you come out of there and 83 people are in the cells.
Yeah.
And maybe 62 of them have been remanded. They have wives, they have children, they've got jobs, they've got everything. That inconvenience alone, we have come to learn, does not help us at the opposition. So we've got to learn. Now things are changing. Social media is available. Make groups, show up, and we can use all other various ways. So if the situation is not going to change, we're going to adapt, and we're going to come up with new ways and methods, but we're not going to give you all of them.
I want to bring you in, Dismas, on this social media, the role of social media. Internet is shut in Tanzania. Every election in this country, there's certainly internet going to be shut, and some of the youth have gotten this as their mobilization tool. Do you think, in a way, social media can be one of the reasons, can be one of the platforms that can be used to make sure that such things that are happening in Tanzania could not happen in Uganda?
First of all, we are still getting videos, we are getting information from Tanzania. I don't know what methods they are using.
Yes.
Maybe they had the same kind of internet shut like the one we had in Uganda, in which they say that they are going to do what? That
they are using, just for your information, they are using VPN.
So they are using VPN, and VPN you can't control it.
Yeah.
So that point is that I think the people in power, they need to start realizing that closing the internet and shutting social media may necessarily not be the easiest
solution,
the best solution that you can ever have in terms of shutting people down. That said, I think that in particular for purposes like in Uganda, the social media, if you look at social media, the other day I was speaking at some meeting in which they asked me to compare what I did in journalism in 1990s and what social media is doing currently. Now, social media has become so prevalent that people have become lazy. You journalists, you have become lazy. You no longer go to look for the story the way it's supposed to be. Then everybody has become an editor. You can all get information and be able to post it, irrespective of the fact whether you have looked at the ethical dimensions of whether the story meets certain standards. So all those are things that are going to change in terms of the things that are going to happen. Then reaction, people reacting to social media as and when. That's just a question of saying. So I do think that closing, and people know how to use VPN. VPN is controlled in the Netherlands and Finland. And it's very difficult for example, for the government of Uganda to convince Finland or Netherlands that cut off VPN. So it's going to be a very difficult prospect for them.
Dismas, Obed, internet shutdown in Tanzania is reflective of what's going to happen here or what has happened before. Are you going, as government, going to shut down internet, or what are you looking into to see that you use as government this internet during this elections to the benefit of the country?
Shutting down internet is the right thing probably you have to do in order to secure people's lives and property for peace to prevail. Because when you have a situation where liars and criminal mobilizers are using this very tool to ban the country, you probably have no option but to
using internet to ban the country.
No, criminal elements are using internet to organize and ban the country. But what I can say, without any fear of contradiction, internet will be available during our elections. Why? We've learned so many lessons in the previous elections, and we are more than prepared to thwart any attempt by the criminal elements who will attempt to disrupt the elections. They will be peaceful, they will be secure, and there won't be any shutting down.
So how will you thwart them?
That's not for public debate.
Let's go for the commercial break, and then we'll return. We shall pick it up.
To 8 p.m.
Welcome back from that week commercial break. My name is Derek Wandera. I wish you could listen and hear Obed giving us a lecture in the break during the break. But I want to bring Isaac here, who seems to agree with the fact that riots are have no place in our society. I got someone online who sent me a comment and said, Derek, a good show you're hosting on KFM. Please ask the gentlemen who seem to be offended by the demos in Tanzania because of the recent elections, why they do not have the same sentiments for some people who took arms after an election in 1980.
Exactly. Now, I don't know what to respond to that gentleman.
You can just give your comment about the entire situation, yes. Why you think that it's illegitimate for those people to raise up for the concerns that they think.
Because look here, I'm trying to understand, what are the protesters demanding? Are they demanding for their what? Is it a question of development? Is it a question of human rights that they are fighting? Is it a question of what is it that they are? And I'll tell you, President Museveni going the bush was very clear. We, as Amin came in, the man was fighting.
So you think
bad leadership and everything.
They don't know what they are fighting for?
No.
Or it's you who doesn't know?
What I'm saying, and you need to understand, I'm not saying that they don't have legitimate reason. What I'm saying, what they are doing is what is illegitimate. And I feel like they have what they call FOMO. As a former rioter, I was at Makerere, and in our first year we were rioting for we were rioting for faculty allowance. But 3/4 of the guys I was with at the front line were private students who don't get faculty allowance. Those days we used to have Kenyans and Rwandese studying, and they were the ones now, we organized buckets of stones, and someone would just shout Estonia oye, and that is it. You get? You get involved in something because it is the it thing to do, but the cause, and that's why I say the cause of whatever you do must be greater than that which you're going to do. And for me, I'm looking at Tanzania, the most stable economy in the region, the fastest growing in the region, the infrastructure. You need to go to Dar es Salaam and see the level of development they have had in the past 10 years from when Magufuli was there. And the thing is, that you just oppose it in a country like Sudan, which was the 8th largest economy in Africa. And to date, I'm yet to look at the statistics again. But Khartoum, there's no country. They're iconic. They had an iconic building. And these idiots of RSF and whatever were just bombing the thing. I mean, so for me, I'm saying, look.
Sudan is going to be sorted.
What allows?
Has been appointed as the mediator.
What allows the most? What you have scenarios where what the Constitution allows in terms of protests are peaceful protests. Like, look, the Kenyans came on the streets, they let them walk, they let them do until that point when they decided to start looting, right? So for me, it's a thing of let's take to the streets peacefully. You have no right to destroy my property just because you have a problem with the government. So for me, I'm saying, look, the good thing here, I mean, there's going to be protection of gains. You get the people. If it means shutting down social media, I mean, I have no problem. I've lived without social media for a period. But if that is the engine which is going to propel destruction of a country, I mean, by all means, please shut it down. And that, for me, is the role of any responsible government. You need to protect the nation.
Frank, I want to come to you about the need to protect the country versus the failure of governments to protect people's human rights. And you end up finding yourself at crossroads on whether to protect the gains, I quote them, or to protect the rights of the people. Which one comes first? And what we are seeing in Kenya is about human rights, a human rights issue, the right to express yourself, the right to contest for leadership positions and stuff like that. Where would you draw the line?
Okay, first of all, if you want a straight answer, national interests rise above any other individual's interests. So if
a nation is made up of different individuals, isn't it?
Definitely, but national interest, if like you were saying, if social media is going to lead to the destruction of a country, then to hell, it can go down. But also, social media is also important. You need to strike a balance between the two. Social media is important because this is where people exhale. This is where people come out and say whatever is in their minds, and they actually don't keep it. They'll come and say whatever they want to say. Even politicians will come and say whatever they want to say. You'll come and abuse themselves. So you are relaxed. So the population does not keep this anger. You understand? Because if it is kept and at one time it actually blows out like it has happened in Tanzania, it would turn out worse. But where I would want to agree with Isaac, I'm thinking the people in Tanzania have legitimate reasons as to why they are protesting. But the way they are protesting is actually the problem.
Frank, they are not protesting. These are criminal riots. There is protesting that is peaceful. That is. Let's give them the right word. These are criminal riots.
What is a criminal right?
It's involved stealing, burning down public infrastructure. That is criminal right.
No. What if those public installations are a bar from you exercising your right of demonstration?
A passenger bus, yes, parked.
So Wandera, as I conclude, it is the manner in which they actually. There are those who are actually protesting, but also escorted by those who are actually doing the looting. They are two different things. But what came first are people who were actually protesting. Even in South Africa during apartheid, during when these people were under oppression, the kind of protests that they held, sit down, stay home, students are not going to school. So you should be organized in a way that you're actually striking.
Yeah, we've seen protests in Uganda, like walk to work, very peaceful, but the kind of violence it made. So you're not very sure whether when you do peaceful or the chaotic protests, whether you're going to be protected, because in the law you're supposed to be protected when you are doing for instance, just walking to work. You have Honorable Kantinti has his car, he leaves it at home, he says I'm going to work,
but he's escorted by who?
And the way he's beaten.
You understand? Supposed to work.
Honorable, I want to bring you in, and some of these these situations, you as a person have been through them. The times of FDC, then when the leader, Dr. Kiza Besigye, would rally you people to the streets and stuff like that. How do you see, where does this end? Where does this whole this whole thing in Tanzania end?
Whenever somebody or a group of people decide to come out and protest in whichever way, I'm not condoning riots, but whenever they come out, there is something that's not adding up.
Yeah.
Many governments, or some of our governments, or the states that are, take protection as in a way of, say, protect the borders, protect the infrastructure of wananchi, and they forget that there can be prevention. Derek, if everything is going on well in the medical side, and your wife is not having problems giving birth here in Uganda, you wouldn't feel something itching. If it was all going well, you would be comfortable. Now in Tanzania, they have had, and that's why they have been referred to as cows, as some of them have said. They're peaceful, they're all together, they have that nationalist spirit. But then there's some things, when you have it, that there's something not right about this, but I can't really place my finger on it. And then tomorrow your neighbor is having a problem, and all of a sudden, because of whatever is itching you, you also decide to join him and join the streets. But our governments have taken the way of saying, no, you're not going to get the streets. If you're not happy, you're not supposed to. Yet it's their job to plan for the citizens. That's why we have annual budgets. We talk about projections, those ones who are economists. They say we're going to project the economy is going to grow at 3.7%. Death rate, maternal death rate is going to drop by so much. Our economy is going to grow by so much. Our exports next year are going to grow. All those big, good, nice figures that they put out there, those are supposed to translate into a person getting something. Protection is about almost three aspects. There's a political protection. This is the one that we know. Someone says, if I see you on the streets, you're dead. They're protecting their political interests. There is the economic one. I don't think, Derek, if you have a home here, very good farm in your place, then maybe you'd be worried about the Kenyans coming and crossing the border, your brothers, and coming to your farm and looting. You'd be very comfortable as a Ugandan. And then there is the social aspect of it all, which has got class, which has got a class in economic earning.
Honorable, I want to pin it there. We'll go for a quick commercial break, and when we return, we shall finish it. KFM, welcome back from that quick commercial break. My name is Derek. I have Isaac, I have Dismas, I have Obed, I have Frank, and Apollo. Gentlemen, we have about 6 minutes to go, so I'm going to ask each of you a minute to discuss the blockage of NMG from the president and parliament. I begin with you, Isaac. Be careful.
Yeah. I mean, you give me an opportunity and then you point a big gun at me and say, now speak. No, but for me, there are two things. I think we need to separate the president from the government. The parliament has no really, I don't feel like it, I think it's going overboard by blocking NMG because parliament is the institution, it's a national institution where every view is presented, right? So in that regard, really, I condemn it with the utmost condemnation. Now, when it comes to the president, I fully support him to the extent that, look, I'm in a campaign, right? And I shall only use favorable media for myself, right? Because I am trying to sell myself to the population, right? I need to be portrayed in a positive manner. And for me, anybody who is condemning the president should look at our competitor, the principal. The principal moves with his own media team. You know,
but has he
no, he hasn't blocked others, but he moves with his own media team because he is also particular that, look, if the crowds are not there, please add in some more people. You get? I'm telling you now. Maybe I'm telling you what happens. So the thing here is that what is good for the goose should be good for the gander. The president is within his right to stop this, but Parliament is absolutely not doing the right thing.
Derek, it's so interesting that even when the Parliament and the presidency decided to block NMG, that I was listening in yesterday for the news, I think Solomon Kawesi, and was saying we are getting the pictures we are using are being supplied to us by the press, the State House, by State House. So then you're wondering if you're interested in not them covering you. Why is State House sending pictures and photos, content to the what? To the same media house that you don't want to know? It is simply because they know this media is very important, but at the same time hiding under.
No, it's because the media is soliciting for you. Okay. Why are you listening?
No. On my part, yes, these were regrettable moments, especially Parliament stopping NMG from covering proceedings there. As for the president, all I can say in these very few minutes that there's some conversations. I think NMG also realized it has its fundamental mistakes they make in the course of their journalism. But there is a conversation, I think sooner or later this will end. I mean, like any other profession, let us always accept where that it's not have this puritanical kind of mindset that don't make mistake, and when we make them, we should be humble enough to accept. But there is a conversation. I think this one will end sooner or later.
Frank.
Yes, Wandera. Confrontations between government and media houses, or even actually with media personalities, is not unique only to Uganda. It has happened even in the USA. You remember in Donald Trump's first term, when he clashed with a number of news networks, CNN, Fox News. Remember the outburst with Megyn Kelly, a journalist. But coming back here to Uganda, first of all, I should state that journalism is such an important role. Journalists are eyes and ears of humanity, so we actually need that information. But good enough, note that all media houses have been blocked from reporting whatever is happening. If there is anything that has happened between Nation Media Group and the office of the president or even Parliament, this is where people can sit on a round table and actually sort this.
Apollo.
Yes, quite frankly, some of us who run for competitive positions in politics, yes, we all want friendly media. So there I am with my brother here, that the president is ready to cherry pick. But there's another angle we also have to look at. How about there could be a clique or a person who is not interested in NMG covering, first it was the presidential campaign, and then it's coming down into Parliament. What's behind it? Right now, my brother here has spoken about America. Congress has been closed for, I think, closed now to what, 27 days, 57 days, something like that. And one of the reasons being given are the Epstein files, that they don't want them to come back. A new member has won an election to come in and sign up on the release of those files. She has not been sworn in. What if there is somebody and many questions are being asked on the campaign trail and in Parliament, and that individual or individuals are not interested? I welcome everybody to look into that further.
That has been it, fortunately for us today. Until next Friday, my name is Derek Wandera. Have a lovely evening and good weekend.